When you think of fast-growing economies in Southeast Asia, Malaysia is right there at the top of the list. But its story is, well, it's a little different. This isn't just another developing nation hitting its stride. No, Malaysia is playing a different game, leveraging a really unique set of advantages that could make it one of the most powerful economies in the entire region. So, how are they pulling it off? All right, here's what we're going to break down. First, we'll look at its absolutely incredible geographic advantage. Then, we'll dive into how it built its own success story. We'll also explore the surprising downside of that growth, look at some serious cracks in the foundation, and finally, check out what's next for Malaysia. To really get Malaysia, you have to start with the map. I mean, its physical location is one of the most critical and honestly most overlooked parts of its entire economic strategy. It's so much more than just a pretty spot. So what really makes an economy strategic? Is it just about having natural resources, like oil or tin? For a lot of countries, yeah, that's the story. But for Malaysia, it's about something way more dynamic. It's about being at the absolute center of global movement. The key, and you really can't overstate this, is the Strait of Malacca. It is one of the busiest, most important shipping lanes on the entire planet. Get this, roughly a quarter of all the world's traded goods have to pass through this one single channel. That makes it a critical choke point and gives Malaysia an incredible amount of influence. And this prime real estate offers more than just shipping lanes. It gives Malaysia this unique time zone sweet spot. Its business hours overlap with partners in Asia and with markets in Europe and the US. It's no wonder it's become such a magnet for trade, for tourism, and now for a huge community of remote workers. But look, a great location only gets you so far. You need a deliberate plan to cash in on it. So let's look at how Malaysia actively engineered its own growth, transforming itself from just a colonial supplier into a real modern industrial power. After gaining independence in 1957, it took them a few decades to really find their footing. The 70s saw new policies to tackle inequality, but the real game changer, that came in the 1980s with something called the Look East policy, which was a full-on commitment to industrialization. And their approach was just so practical, They basically followed the Asian tiger playbook. First, they studied their successful neighbors. Second, they went all in on courting foreign investment from Japanese giants. And third, they got laser-focused on manufacturing for export, especially in things like textiles and electronics. And here is where they were really smart. They didn't just spend the profits. The government consistently plowed that export money right back into the country, building some of the best roads, ports, and internet infrastructure in Asia, often even better than what you'd find in wealthier Western nations. Now, this super-fast, export-focused growth created a really unique economic situation. It's kind of like a double-edged sword, where the very things that make Malaysia so attractive also create some major vulnerabilities. To get what's going on here, we need to talk about something called purchasing power parity, or PPP. It sounds complicated, but the idea is simple. Instead of just looking at exchange rates, it asks, what can a dollar actually buy in different countries? Let's put it this way. Take a $50,000 a year salary. In the US, that might mean cutting a lot of corners. But in Malaysia, that same amount can get a family a comfortable home, a car, plenty of food, and good medical care. Your money just goes way, way further. And this is the result. On paper, Malaysia is a middle-income nation, but in reality, it offers a high-income lifestyle. When you mix that incredible purchasing power with modern cities and amazing infrastructure, you've got a country that is just incredibly attractive for investment, for tourism, and for global talent. But as you might have guessed, it's not all smooth sailing. There are some serious cracks starting to show in the foundation, cracks that could stall Malaysia's incredible climb and stop it from becoming a truly advanced economy. This quote from a government official really hits the nail on the head. It's a very polite way of saying that Malaysia has been piggybacking on innovation from other countries for too long, and now that those countries are slowing down, Malaysia is feeling the pinch. So this creates a whole cluster of risks. You've got this over-reliance on foreign tech, which can lead to something called the middle income trap. That's where a country gets really good at making things for others, but gets stuck before it can innovate for itself. On top of that, you've got growing inequality and a really persistent, damaging problem with corruption. And yeah, you can't talk about corruption in Malaysia without mentioning the 1MDB scandal. We're talking billions of dollars from a state fund, money that was supposed to make life better for everyday Malaysians, that was allegedly stolen. It was a massive, massive blow to public trust and the country's reputation on the world stage. So, facing all these hurdles, what's the game plan? Well, Malaysia isn't just sitting back. It has a new, pretty ambitious plan to tackle these problems head on and start writing its next chapter. It's called the New Industrial Master Plan 2030, and it's a huge pivot. The goal is to climb up the value chain into high-tech industries, drive their own innovation with local R&D, embrace all the next-gen tech, and make sure all this new growth is sustainable. And they aren't starting from scratch. Far from it. Malaysia is already a powerhouse in a supercritical global industry. It accounts for 13% of the world's testing and packaging for semiconductors, a field that's only getting more important. Of course, to pull off this high-tech dream, you need the right people. So they're investing heavily in their workforce. The government is pumping money into programs to train tens of thousands of new engineers, creating the skilled labor they need to go from a manufacturing economy to a knowledge economy. So, how does Malaysia stack up overall on our leaderboard? Well, its incredible growth gets a solid 9 out of 10. But its stability score is held back a bit by that corruption issue. So we'll give it a 6. Combine that with strong exports and a decent GDP per capita, and you get a very respectable overall score of 6.8. And that really brings us to the core of Malaysia's story. It has the location, it has the plan, and it has the momentum. It seems like the only thing standing between it and true, lasting prosperity might just be itself. So the ultimate question is, can it overcome these internal hurdles, like corruption, to finally make that leap into the ranks of the world's truly advanced economies?